it's Misty here from TheJollyFatElf. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to Gingerbread Week day number 2. In this video, we are going to be creating using the gingerbread house and dies that I picked up last year from Hello Bluebird. So, this is cute. This went in a completely different direction than I intended. This one's going to be some coloring. We're going to be doing some die cutting, etc. And you've already seen the thumbnail. I really love how this card turned out, and I love kind of the premise behind it. So I'm going to walk you through all the steps. But before we do that, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to leave me a comment before you go, a heart, whatever you want. All the engagement helps the channel grow. So yeah, let's head over to the craft table and I'll walk you through this card. Well, I kind of lost the footage of me stamping these gingerbread out, but you guys have seen me stamp 1,000 times before. I just went ahead and stamped in some hybrid ink, Copic friendly hybrid ink, and I'm going to be doing some coloring. For those of you who don't want to watch this part, I will try to remember to put a timestamp in the description box down below. I can make it like into chapters or whatever, so you can click that and go ahead. For those of you who do want to hang around, hello. So this card again took a different direction than I originally intended. In the beginning, I wanted to make like a snow globe scene, but the issue I was running into is the snow globe that I have from Hello Bluebird was way too small, and I didn't want to use the huge one from Honeybee Stamps because it's an A2 size card. Like you can make a snow globe card out of that. So like I said, this kind of took a turn, but I actually really love how it turned out. For the coloring, I am trying to keep the center as light as possible. So keeping the darkest color to the outside and then working my way into the lightest color. For the color palette, I knew I wanted to use pastels for this. So you're going to see me color with corals and pinks, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put on some music and speed through this. Again, just doing some simple coloring, making sure I'm coloring the outside darkest and working my way into the inside. And so yeah, I'll catch back up with you when we get to the actual card making. So before I move on to coloring my ladders, I brought in a white gel pen, and here you can see I was testing out colors, etc. I normally don't do this because I have the hardest time and it never turns out cute, but this time it turned out cute. And I'm basically kind of adding some dots around their bodies to make it look like they've been frosted. And I really love, I think this just added what it needed to these little people. I love it so much. And I was so happy that my pen, my white gel pen, cooperated, because a lot of times it'll either skip or my lines get wonky doodle. This time I did a pretty good job. I did pretty good. So by this point, I've kind of changed my mind on how I want this to look. So I am continuing my little, creating my own brown paper here, and I'm I'm die cutting the "Oh, what fun" sentiment from them. So there's this outline, and then there is the kind of the line image. So for the outline, I am just doing that regular on some of that craft cardstock that I colored with Vintage Photo. For the letters, because they cut out really tiny, I brought in some more of that adhesive paper, and I am putting that on the back of some white cardstock. It takes me a minute to get it started. And the reason why I did that is because this sentiment cuts each letter separately. So you have kind of like your guide when you use the background, but it cuts each letter separately. And I hate that. I hate when word dyes do that to me. I would much rather just have the word connected. Can I just have the word connected? So once I get those ran through my die cutting machine, it's time to pick paper. This is always the hardest part for me. I swear, picking paper sometimes is the hardest part, unless I already have a color scheme in mind. So I knew I wanted pastels. I knew I wanted some paper that went with the colors that I already created. I brought in probably 10 different paper pads, etc. And this next clip is sped up to 20 times speed. So I was like, I'm not really finding what I wanted, but if I like something, I put it aside. And I literally went through a ton. Now this ends up being the winner, by the way. This is the one from, Queen and Company that was part of their ornament kit. And I really, really, really like these two colors together. So we're back to 4 times speed. And I went ahead and cut down that, the stripe to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I want to say that the snowflake is like 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I'm just adding those to some craft cardstock. And now we get to adhere our sentiment. So I am adhering the sentiment and its kind of outline. They're going to be flat on the card. And that's because I'm going to be popping up some of these gingerbread, and I want them to be the highest part of the card. So my thought of this was, what if the gingerbread are actually the ones that are creating the sentiment? Now, hindsight's 2020. If I thought about it, I would have used a pink cardstock to make it look like she frosted the word. But in just a second, you're going to see me adhere the letters, but I'm going to leave off the exclamation point, and the guy on the ladder is going to be putting on the exclamation point. And honestly, you guys, I love that so much more than I love what my original thought was. I was like, this is genius. So I used the ladder and kind of where he would stand to set everything down. And here you can see they are all connected. They're like the O and the H. So O is connected. Fun may also be connected, but what is not connected? So that's why I used the adhesive sheets. And they're probably one of the most used adhesives that I have other than tape runner. So again, I'm just adding these down. It makes it so simple. If you use the adhesive sheets, and you can get those off Amazon, you can get them from Sizzix, you can get them from your local supply company. I believe you can pretty much find these everywhere. You guys do know that I love the mixture of a script with, I guess, what is that called? A serif? I don't know. Whatever straight letters are called. I love cursive or a script with non-script. I just love the look of that. I love that when it's mixed with sentiments. So I'm putting down the little period, and then I'm going to bring in our dude, and I'm going to get him adhered flat. And then we're going to add the exclamation point to his hands. And I just love that so much. I'm not even going to lie at how much I love that. So then it was just kind of deciding where I wanted all these little people to go. Hindsight's 2020. I decided that I wanted to have this little dude behind the W. And so I was kind of moving that around. I ended up pulling him out and putting the W behind him, I believe. And then I just moved on. So I'm attaching most of these with some glue dots. We have the little girl sitting. Then I have more than a couple of each of these. So one of them is going to go on the inside, and the other one just got put aside. So yeah, I was just trying to figure out where I wanted these cute little girls and what I wanted it to look like on the bottom. I really love how this turned out. So since she was going to be helping to ice this, I went ahead and used the other ladder, but just cut it down a little bit so they would be at varying heights. And again, I just adhered them both flat. So yeah, the ladder was a little precarious, but luckily it was a bit thicker on the back than it looks from the front. And that helped a lot, because you know how I am about adhering to little bitty pieces. I really, really struggle with that. So getting the other little girl down, and then we're going to put the one with the pink gumdrop on the inside after I add some shimmer with a Nuvo shimmer pen. And that's really the end of this card, like that part of it. I'm going to bring in some embellishments from Stamp Anything to add some dots on this. But I don't know. Again, sometimes like I get frustrated when things don't go the way I initially had them planned. But again, I feel like this is so much better than what I had initially thought it was going to be. And I really love this. I feel that it's clever. You guys will have to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me toot my own horn here for a couple of minutes. So these are some adornments from Stamp Anything, and I am getting those adhered with a glue dot. There are 2 at the bottom and then 3 at the top right. I do this kind of frequently. I really like this layout. Once I do that, that is it for this card. So don't forget, you can pick up these cards if they're still available in my Etsy shop, which is listed in the description box down below. It is the night before Thanksgiving in the US. If you're in the US and you're traveling, I hope you have a safe and happy holiday. I'll see you Black Friday morning with another card. So I'll keep you company while you're shopping. But anywho, for the rest of you, have a fantastic end to your week or the middle of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.